Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to ThinkTank. I am on Haven, and with me I have Draz.
What's up?
How to.
Just how, man, just how. But yo.
Alright. We're doing tags first.
Get it right.
And Laurster, our fantastic guest.
Hello.
Here to talk about some preparation.
Indeed.
So, as Laurster's the guest, how do you... So, what was the last tournament you were at?
That'll be Air.
Yes.
Almost, probably a month ago now.
Yeah. What did you do coming up to Air?
So I wanted Air to be something that it didn't turn out to be, I guess. I wanted it to be like a massive tournament for me. So I wanted to do the 4 tournaments in 4 weekends, which obviously isn't available to everyone all the time. So this is just a special case. But yeah, on the lead up, I wanted to hit up all of the tournaments. I can't remember exactly which ones they were. It was like Attack on Southampton, some other ones, I don't know, Smashbox, I think. And yeah, so basically I just wanted to practice playing in tournament setting. That's it, really. And yeah, I didn't manage to do all 4 of them. I missed out one of them. But yeah, in the lead up to Air 4, it was definitely just getting in the mindset of just the tournament mindset, especially at New Wave. I didn't play any friendlies and I just played...
I remember you doing that. I was like, hey, Lost, do you want to play? I was like, nah, man, keeping it super serious. It's impressive.
Yeah. That was different strat.
Yeah, so, because I remember Ross telling me before we kind of started this that you had like a bit of a routine before like a particular tournament day itself. So like...
Yeah, definitely in like Southampton tournaments, I sort of accidentally started a routine of sort of going to certain places to get a coffee and like start like certain ways of starting my day, and then sort of wristbands and hand towels and my sleepy waifu shout outs plushie.
Oh damn!
It all sort of like accidentally come together into this routine. I'm not a superstitious person at all, but it really helps sort of get my brain into gear, I guess. It's like, right now, this is serious. I got my wristbands on and I can look at them and I'm like, right, that's in between stocks.
I've got my little towel with me. I've got my...
etc. Yeah, the towel.
Get rid of nervous energies.
Very important.
What?
So does it help like keep... Because I'm always curious, because I don't really have anything like that. I feel like every tournament in itself is chaotic, like Tet driving down, everything just gets, a bit mad. But does it help keep you sort of grounded when you're like in the actual set itself to know like, right, this is just the same thing. I start the way I start any other tournament. Like, what's the logic?
Yeah, definitely. Like, so Southampton tournaments especially, I have like it was a really specific thing I would do because I did really well at one of the Southampton tournaments, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to do that every time now, and just make myself think that way. It's the same with the music I listen to when I'm playing. It's the same music that I did really well with for one of the first times, and it always sort of makes me think about, oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this game.
Really well. So yeah, exactly. It's like I'm just one grab, one punish away from evening this up or whatever, or like I can come back. It doesn't matter what's happening. I can.
That's sick. They use like these kind of external things to like ground yourself again, like this whole routine, the music, etc. It's cool.
Is that something you like actively notice when you're playing?
Yeah, definitely. It just brings in between stocks. I forced myself. It didn't take me much effort, but I forced myself to just wipe my hands in between. Sort of one tournament I tried out, sort of like just moving my wristbands around, just to give me even more time in between stocks, just to force myself to think about what I'm doing and how I'm going to approach the next stock.
Okay, so you have like a sort of habitual low time, because I remember Ross was talking about that last time, where like he develops a plan like in his head in between like him losing a stock and him falling off the angel platform. Just be like, right, same thing every time, just get back to business.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like a get back to business, also think about what's happened, get any like, I'm not a salty person, I'm like a pretty chill guy anyway, but like if something annoying does happen, like I miss a like DI on an up throw up air or down for a knee or whatever, that's annoying, but I'll forget about it by the time I'm off my angel platform anyway.
Okay, nice. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's pretty interesting.
What about yourself, Draz, Ross? Do you have any preparations similar-ish,
Oh, man.
or well, just driving down with Tess? Your preparations like, oh god, I might die. This might be my last.
It's
This might be my last
just
tournament. I
chaos.
better try my best.
Yeah, inappropriate driving in a small space is my preparation. Yeah.
But seriously, do you have any?
Actually, surprisingly not. I think the only thing that I try to keep sort of the same every time is the amount of sleep I have. Like, I always try and keep it in between 8-9 hours if possible. Not always, but I think if you have that as like a foundation going in, that's like
Yeah,
good
that's a
start.
pretty solid start to get like that many amount of sleep. Yeah.
But it's definitely one of my weaker parts, so I'm very, very curious to see what everyone else does, to be honest.
Leading up to it, well, go on, Ross.
Oh, sorry. You go. Actually, it sounded like you were going to say something super interesting.
Oh, the
Leading up.
pressure! See these expectations he puts on me. It's like, oh, no, I have to say. Oh god, I'll break it down.
Oh, no.
Nervous.
Yeah,
I can't talk now.
You got this.
But nah.
Don't
Well,
joke,
usually
don't joke.
in leading up to the tournament, I'll look at who the top seeds are, like refresh my memory on like the matchups or people who I'm like kind of scared on. So I just like refresh my memory on the matchups, practice a bit more,
Okay.
then get sleep, I guess.
Yeah,
What-
like the projected brackets are really helpful for
Yeah,
that
for
on
sure.
Smash
Yeah,
GP.
yeah. But in terms of like,
Like,
I don't have anything like Lawrence does, which is quite interesting. I have like favorite outfits and
Yeah.
stuff I wear, which increase my confidence a little bit. So I'm like, yeah, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, let's go. And that's it. That's it for me. That's what I use anyway.
Interesting. Yeah, I think
Yeah, outfits are good. Yeah, I got that my Team Liquid shirt.
The-
That's very.
The real one, or that
noticed
weird
that.
fake one you have. Is it a fake one you have? The one that looks like. Is it? I
It's
swear you
not
got one
a
that
fake
looks
one.
like one. Oh, it might have been too higher. Never mind. Yeah.
Nah, it's OG. It's OG.
Right,
then,
okay,
like,
okay.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Alright, never mind.
It was like the first liquid ones that Smash people wore. It's retro at this point. I like it. So Ross, what are you like? What is your
Yeah.
kind of beginning?
I don't know. Like, I think I'm much more with like in line with what Howard does, where I'll definitely like look at all my brackets. There's usually, before I sign up to a tournament, I have an idea of somebody that I want to play, and there's someone that I've been like thinking about something they do a lot that I really struggle with. So I've just been thinking I'll probably like if after a tournament's happened, say against say like last time I played at Smashbox, I played Prof, and I asked him for the first time. I've actually asked him for advice after. I asked him what he felt my biggest weakness was, and he told me that it was like to do with he just found it easy to approach me, or he just found it easy to get in against me. So I've sort of had that in the back of my mind, thinking about every single match I've played against Foxes and how that advice applies to what I've been doing, and and like trying to just fit that together and just go like, okay, so who's been abusing that? Like, how is a good example of someone who abuses that? I feel like he really can get
Tyler
in
Muffin.
against me. Tyler Muffin too. Tyler Muffin too. But how is the first person who really brought it front and center that there's something that he's doing which is really abusing my style? And I think
Okay.
Prof called it out. So I like that's been on my mind. So usually I'm like, so for example, I was gonna go to Brighton Stock. Unfortunately, I was ill, so I missed it. But I was thinking the whole time like, I want to play Prof. I want to like I've really been thinking about, and I've been trying to think of loads of new techniques to deal with that. So I think most of the time before I go into a tournament, I've already got a plan of what I want to achieve.
Okay, so it helps kind of keep you maybe focused on like what you actually want to
Yeah.
achieve that day, and that's its own sort of preparation.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Lawrence, going back to your little morning routine you do. Say, I don't know. Say you don't do this
Yeah.
routine for whatever reason. We're in a rush or whatever. Do you reckon that would affect you at all?
No, I don't know.
Yet to find out, yeah.
I'd like to find out, but
Damn.
yeah, I'd probably doubt it, to be honest. Because now now I've travelled so much. Because I used to really only go to Southampton tournaments, and then I sort of over the like past 6 months I've really travelled, and obviously can't do the same thing every time. And but now I've got these little token things like the towel, the sleepy wifey plushie, like it's
Sick.
all there, it's all in place and transportable.
Oh, dude, you should get sponsored by Holly. Just keep your plushie with you, and you too can beat random people at huge majors.
Promise, more stickers.
What do you guys, I reckon, like bad preparations. Well, no preparation is pretty bad, but
Because
I'm trying to
for
think
me, that's why I'm like super. I don't want to say against, but like I'm very cautious of like strict preparation. Because for me, the idea of like going into a day and then not having it suddenly seems very, like it could be very distracting.
what do you mean not
Like, if I've
having
just
it?
woken up. So
What
say
kind of
like.
preparation
So
would
say
be
I have a
distracting?
hard rule before a tournament, like, okay, I'm going to get this much sleep and I'm going to wake up this long before the tournament, have this much time before the bracket starts to have friendlies. But then say, I don't know, I sleep through an alarm and then I have to get through the venue 5 minutes early or like 5 minutes before bracket starts. Then I'm not sure that I'd be ready for it. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had any kind of situation like that.
Nah, can't relate with your there, Jet. No,
You're rubbish.
I legitimately can't. But like, I've never had that.
Apart, yeah, you just miss your pool instead.
Oh God, he went there.
I had to make it
Yeah,
topical.
fair enough. You got me. All right.
Nah, it's all good. It's just because I've definitely had it for like weeklies, like where I've just like I don't know, trains have been jammed or whatever. I get there, I literally go straight in with cold hands and just lose to some random.
So, but you said that your problem.
Oh yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
When
You
I've
said
played.
that you were worried that the preparation might distract you, but it sounds like you already get, I don't know, distracted when you go in unprepared.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's like
So you worry like more preparation will make more issues? If you
I'd say
don't?
having a routine is always something that's like I don't know. It sounds really, really, really good once you get into the rhythm of it, but like I don't know. I guess there's growing pains once you have to kind of separate yourself from it. That I guess Lawrence is already kind of done with, right?
Yeah, I don't really have any routines like before or after tournaments. I'm pretty bad actually. Like I do just treat myself like shit. Basically.
Yeah, dude. Live fast, die young. Like the night before.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, I think I even remember me and Unhaven, like we were staying up. I think it was for Origin or something, and we were playing like the dumbest friendlies, the dumbest, and it was just at the end of it, I just thought, why did we play until like whatever time in the morning?
It was
playing stupid.
I think it
friendlies.
was like I think it was our Spaceys with Tet's commentary. I think that was what happened.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he was really strangely impressed by my fox, and I was like, "This is nothing, honestly. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?" It was
It
horrible.
was horrible, yeah.
My God.
That was a good time. It worked out for me.
Yeah. I had an alright day. I only lost to VA and Maxi.
Yeah,
I can't
that's-
really have a.
It was the only set that me and Tech got to commentate for the entire of Origin was you versus Maxi. We came on like, oh yeah, let's get some fast,
Cheeks,
insane action. It was like Puff Peach, and I was like, I'll do it.
On
Yeah, it
Dreamland
was,
as well,
it was definitely on
second game.
Dreamland.
Oh,
I was like,
bad
we're doing it
time.
for the scene. We're doing it for the scene.
Oh, I've caught.
To be fair, it was a good
Yeah.
set though.
Yeah, I've caught myself doing this at tournaments, and like I think this is like bad preparation, so to speak. Sort of. So like, it's before I was about to play Lawrence actually at Smashbox. And I said to Prof, it's like, yo, let me play you Peach real quick. I was like, what's the point? I should like already be like at a level where I'm like, right, I'm playing Lawrence, let's just go. I should know everything about the matchup by the time I get there, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
I'm not a fan of like
because I know
warming up before.
last minute.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that.
so yeah, that's like
especially Prof
kind of
Peach.
bad preparation, I say. So if you're ever at a tournament and you're just like, oh, I've got X player next, let me play someone else's X. It's like you should already kind of be like know everything about the matchup. Or like people randomly asking me last seconds, like, oh, what do I do versus X character? I'm just like, what? Like, why don't you know it already? What? Come on.
I was about to say, I can't imagine it working well because either best case they kind of don't incorporate it or maybe do sometimes. Worst case is that they focus on it. and they
Oh
can't,
yeah,
like,
it's just
doing
two bad situations that can occur. Yeah.
and they keep trying to like perfect your like one sentence advice.
yeah,
throughout this
yeah.
like really complex set. Yeah, it's insane. My God.
So even if like
Yeah.
you're at a tournament and you're just not good versus like I don't know XYZ or whatever, you might as well just use that to match as like learning phase instead of like trying so desperately to win.
Yeah, because the worst case is you can still like kind of learn the player, get a grounding in the set, and just kind of keep your head together in the fact that you don't know anything.
Yeah,
So,
exactly,
like, if you've
yeah.
been playing some random peach, or not maybe a random peach, not even maybe even like a good peach, like 10 minutes before you have to play someone like Laurster, and then you're like, no, I've been playing this matchup for the last like 10 minutes. I've been speaking so much. I should know like a bunch. I think that's like a really easy pitfall to potentially fall into.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it
I
all.
don't know. Yeah, it's bad times.
Yeah, I think you just concentrate in between tournaments. I had like a really bad problem with Marth to begin with, and it was like Marth would appear in bracket all the time, and I'd just lose to like Icon, and I'm like, oh, why am I losing to this guy? But I did it sort of in between. I never would do it at the tournament and try and work out how to beat Marth. I would just look back on VODs or try and like learn from my mistakes, just remember what I was doing, like what dumb things I was doing, and try and sort it out in between, because I cannot do it during a match. It's just too much. It's too much to be trying to learn a whole matchup in a match.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I had the same thing with Sheik for a long time, but it was just whenever a Sheik came up, I would just sort of get bopped. I didn't understand what I had to do, but just I knew that over time that it would just come to me, and I would just sort of get to grips with what I'm struggling with within the matchup. But I couldn't. I definitely don't think like, I don't know, grinding the matchup for 10 minutes before the game would help me too much.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, I would find all the answers that just weren't there before.
Because I think there's some value to it, obviously, because you see every single top player at a venue just like hunting these people that play certain characters, but it shouldn't be for like game plans.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's not for
comfort,
gaining
right?
knowledge. I think for them it's more so just, I need to just quickly get this muscle memory, like, or just refine it slightly more, like know XYZ to look out for.
Yeah, and get game plans locked in, like already worked out game plans. Just start thinking about them and start doing them against your practice play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I assume that's what they're doing.
Because it should like kind of bolster your confidence and maybe like some of your timings, like for Marth, like F throw, pivot tipper. Like I always try and find like peaches or puffs if I'm gonna play one. But it should, you should never learn in those sort of situations.
Yeah, just quickly rinse out like a few like real specific situations, like stuff like forward throw, tipper, forward smash, or stuff like that. Just like quickly get it, like, oh, I've got it in lock for sure now. It's like, oh, I definitely know how to do this, and you go all good.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're ready. It should be all locked in.
Yeah, not formulating entire game plans within like 5 minutes, asking Prof or whoever the fuck. Like, that's no, it's not gonna work.
I can't believe you asked Prof to play as Peach for Lost.
Oh no, I did it. Oh well, I did ask him. Yeah, I was just like, no, I think I was playing him, and I was like, who's you got next? And he asked me who I got next, and I said Lawrence. And I was like, oh, I'll play Peach if you want. And I was like, sure. We played like one set. No, we played like one stock. I had to play Lawrence. And I was like, cool, thanks for that, Prof. No, I genuinely missed it. I was like, cool, nice one, safe. Walked away thinking, alright, cool, I got this.
I've absolutely got it.
I got destroyed. Sad times.
That was definitely a bad time.
How do you guys prepare for? So let's say you've played the matchup a lot, but you're playing someone who you've either previously went very close with, or like beaten, or someone that you have like a lot of sets with. How do you feel that you prepare for those kind of sets? I'll start with Jack, as I didn't say anything.
It's an interesting one. I don't really have many like great examples of that. I think the two that spring to mind straight away would be, I don't know. So playing Lima from my region is a Falco that like we play together all the time. We understand each other like super well. So whenever I had to play him in tournament, it was never like I never feel like I had to pull anything. It was all focusing on like me and like how I was playing at that exact moment.
Yeah.
So it was all mental prep. Like for playing someone you know really well and they know you really well. You should. I don't know. I never found that playing against other Falcos helps. If anything, it just kind of hinders because you know what to do, right? You know.
Yeah.
You know what beating that person looks like. You've
like
done it
in
a
a
bunch
way,
of times.
in a way, you want to play less like you.
Yeah, actually. Huh. That's interesting. But it's just, I don't know, keeping kind of solid head about it and trying to stay grounded, if anything. Because, like, especially because in the Northeast, I'd always meet him in, like, grand finals or winners finals or, like, super late in the bracket as well. So it's, like, kind of higher stakes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I never try and, like, change anything last minute for matches like those.
Have you had those sort of, like, those matches, Lawrence, where it's just, like, you know that it's going to be close and you've played them a lot before?
Maybe not know it was going to be close beforehand. I try and go in kind of thinking like I just want to win this. I'm going to win this, unless it's against someone like ridiculous like Prof or over or something. I always go in like thinking I'm going to win it. So to say I don't know. So I suppose Tristan is a pretty good example because I obviously pretty much like I learned a large percentage about this game from that guy, like just playing friendlies for hours with him. And so he knows all of my stupid habits and everything. And I'd never beaten him, never really like properly felt like I came close. I've always sort of just stolen games. But I think it was at Attack on Southampton. I just completely felt like I'm like better than him now. I just need to play like it's not Tristan, like it's just another random Falcon, and I'm just going to combo them. And that worked fine. Like I just tried to forget the player, and then that worked fine for 2.5 games.
No, that is the worst way of putting it. So like, what was it that made you like forget? Was it like towards the end, and you kind of had the I'm finally overcoming my teacher effect?
Yeah, I've almost 3-0 Tristan. If I 3-0 Tristan, that isn't like I obviously set up when I wanted to take this game seriously. I set up like some milestones, and beating Tristan was obviously one of them because he like when I started, he's like a top 20 player, and that's definitely a goal I wanted to achieve. And then I'm finally on the cusp of 3-0ing him, making it look very straightforward. And then just got on my own head and didn't play the game for the other games, and it was just fell apart. And that was a huge, really important lesson in the lead up to all of those tournaments, like New Wave and everything. I think he kind of did me a massive favour beating me in that way, because it just sort of solidified my mindset. And at like New Wave, I never like wavered, I guess, throughout the entire tournament. I was going to use that word already, and then I said new wave, and I was like, this sounds shit.
I just wanted to acknowledge the potential,
yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, I never wavered throughout the entire thing, and I feel like that's because I felt the tragedy of losing in that way, and I never wanted to lose my focus. So it does help. I think like every loss helps way more than a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I've definitely had my like fair share of not closing, I guess is kind of the best way of putting it, right? Like I've gone game 5 with like people who are way like there's just levels, and I've gone game 5 with people who are like so much better than me, and I'd lost for so long, but then like I don't know, got my first PR win recently just after like thinking about it and actually dedicating time to being like, right, you need to just keep your stuff straight and just I don't know.
Did you feel so? Was that when you say that's the first time you've like approached it in that way? Is it the first time you've attempted approaching it in that way, or like you figured something out and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna," For
me, it was the first time that I considered that I had like a game plan for it. It wasn't like, "Man, I'm gonna beat this person. Now what?" It was, "Okay, I've taken like games off this person. That's fine. It's just more games. Just stay to what you're doing." And I think even that like small reminder is just like really helpful, because as soon as you focus on something that isn't actually just like what you're meant to be focusing on, it definitely shows like straight away. So,
yeah, I'd agree with that.
You had in when you had close sets to Ross and like had to play him again. Like how do you prep for him?
Yeah, like I guess like the most obvious is Sechi, that we've sort of had so many close sets and considered so close to each other, and brackets usually, well, I don't really know from the outside, but it seems that people make somewhat of a deal when we have to play again. So my thoughts when I'm about to play Sechi is it was very different from anybody else, because there's so much more riding behind it. And I find it interesting. When I play Sechi, he's sort of a good... I think he naturally counters my style, but simultaneously, I think there's a part of each other that counter each other. Like, he can be very patient, and I struggle against that playstyle. But simultaneously, because I understand him as a person and him as a player, and I know what he wants to do, I can sort of get in his head and be okay with that patience. And I know that he wants to be patient at this point.
Purposely be as jank as possible. Sechi just loses his mind. He's like, why would you do that? What?
There you go. There you go. That's
That wasn't even good.
That's not what you're meant to do as ICs. Just going great. Love you, Setchi, if you ever listen to this. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you ever like not wobble him intentionally? Because I know that sounds really stupid, but like he always gets like kind of flustered when you don't wobble people.
It's sort of, it goes both ways. He gets more flustered if I don't wobble people, but I do wobble him.
Oh yeah, okay, that's really good.
But
So, like,
I don't intend to use that.
but it just
It's a
works out.
byproduct.
Huh?
Yeah. I don't want to tilt him. I don't like, that's not a sort of a style I want or a habit I want.
Yeah,
No,
you do.
Laurster, I don't want to tilt him.
But Icon
So
style, that is
difficult.
just tilting people. Shouts to him. Love you, Icon.
If I really wanted to tilt people, I'd wobble every day. But because it's not my thing.
But there's definitely something to be said about like knowing how to like really capitalize on having someone be tilted. I think it's like super interesting. Like I had a set with Time Muffin that I played and took him to like game 5. It was just because he just lost a fade. I was very conscious of this. I was like, oh man, this could be a wash, but also he's just lost like what to him is like his first loss to Scotland in ages. And he was like, you could just see him down. I was like, I'm just gonna do the most jank nonsense of all time. So I just like run off counter and like F smash in neutral, and it was just it was great. I almost mind crushed him, but
Yeah, taking like those kind of stuff into account during tournaments, I think it's so funny, it's so interesting. Just the fact he's just lost to like X character, you just think, oh man, he's probably in a bad place now. You just like playing like a completely different style to the other guy who you just played, or let's just like copy his style, whatever. All sorts of things you can do in order to.
I love your way of putting it. He's in a bad place right now. Time to abuse this.
In order to prepare for
Kick him while he's down.
your tournament match.
Yeah,
All sorts of.
exactly. Man, because they're just not expecting it.
I suppose actually, my story, because none of you guys asked me. Fuck.
Sorry. You're a host. You were asking us.
Hal, what
Yeah,
about you,
Hal.
Hal?
Please.
Yeah,
Hal, please let us
thank you,
know.
Lawrence. I need this attention. But yeah, it was after I lost to. No, the first loss was Lorenzo versus his Moth. I was like, early kickstart. I was like, fuck me, pretty bad versus Moth. Then lost to Icon recently-ish in pools. I swear I've lost him like twice in pools, like pretty recently-ish. And I was just like,
no.
oh man, pretty bad versus Moth. I should actually go practice this. So I go practice Moth. No, and 10 quid shoes took me game 5. And I only won because he SD'd. Fuck, that was bad. But yeah, just like, so yeah, my kind of standard way of prepping it was just like, just look at the matchup. Because I just have this confidence that I'm better than people in like terms of a fighting game fundamental sense. But I had no idea what the fuck to do versus Moth specifically at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Do you
I'm not
find
having.
whoa, 700 questions at a time.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, go on, Ross. Go on, Ross.
when you when you recognized that you had the math problem, how did you go about practicing it or working on it? And was it obvious when you felt that you improved at it?
Yeah, for sure. I was just like, I would choose like his very common or basic options of how to get grab or how he sets up for him and just think, right, what can Fox logically actually do around this, or how can I play around it? So I would just do that, look at a few vids, think about it, it's like, oh, I could just do that, or oh, I should probably stop running into just short hop fair, because that's all I did,
Right.
just trying to like dare them or grab them, just run into sources like, oh, that's probably a bad option. And I think about how for Marth that's a bad option because you could just react to it or just do anything near enough. So I was like, right, let me just slow down and actually play this matchup. And that's what always grounds me as well, like another topic. But so the next time I go into tournament versus the Marth, I'm just like, right, I do know all these options now. I don't have to take into account how bad or good this guy is. I try not to. But for this one I did. It was versus 10 quid, I think. I knew he was good. I played him at net play. I was like, right, okay, he's decent, so I have to at least play like properly. Let me just play the matchup, see what happens. And that was it. So that was my preparation for matchups I'm not good with, or tournaments in general.
Like, it's weird that everyone in this chat, apart from Ross, has had some sort of like mental block about Marth at some point.
No, I've had a math block.
Really? Have we
Yeah.
all? Oh no.
Yeah.
Versus who's
Well,
Marth?
mine was quite early.
What?
Mine was more like when I just started out, my local Marth, who isn't notable, would always go so close with me. And there was a point where I even went, it was like a best of 3, and I narrowly won game 1. so I went Falcon and 3-stocked in game 2. That was like to the point where my ices kind of weren't cutting it. Like it was a while ago, but
Yeah, it was like you were just like, nah, that was way too close.
yeah,
Fuck that
Martha's
for now.
too much.
Fuck it for
Yeah.
now. Let me just shoot some lasers and get at him. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, Falcon. Sorry if I said Falco.
Oh, fuck.
Because I was gonna kind
Just
of
ran at him
tangent
and
that.
Need him.
I was gonna kind of like tangent that into like preparing your, I don't know, your brain on like how to encounter these characters again. Because I've definitely had that recently with like the Martito. Like I find myself letting the matchup get to me like really soon because I'm not like mentally prepared to have to deal with the jank fest or whatever my brain calls it before a set. So do you guys have like any sort of ways that you handle like having to encounter a certain character that you may not necessarily be ready for?
As a Fox
So I'm
player,
not sure.
I just think anybody like Pikachu and below, I'm just gonna laser camp you because you're garbage. But that's like a Fox like, you know, privilege I have
Yeah.
of just doing that, I guess.
That's definitely an angle. So does that like help keep you in focus? Because I remember you talking about your set with Omid at Albion recently.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly what I said. Pretty much. Like, if you're just using some garbage character, I don't have to worry about like anything you can do because you can't get to me because I'm Fox. So that's like
Okay.
a cheating. Well, not cheating because I've chose to pick him, but like
Yeah.
a sense of preparation I don't ever have to deal with. If that makes sense. Because
Sure.
as opposed to if
Yeah,
you're like
that makes
Mario or some other low tier, you're just like, oh man, I need to know every matchup, every goddamn game, because I'm just gonna get destroyed. Because or other characters can
Yeah.
destroy me, I should say.
It's like Marth can just wall forward air and down tilts and stuff
Yeah,
like that,
like
and it can help keep you
Fox, Falco,
at
Marth, Sheik,
peace.
Jigs to an extent.
That's true.
You can just chill.
So Lawrence, how did you end up like dealing with Marth? Because I know that you like, if not fully gotten past it, you've at least taken strides because you like beat Vino at a Brighton tournament at some point. So you must have like learned something.
Hey, that was funny. He wasn't playing very well, but I still beat him when I wasn't very good. So
Yeah.
I just focused on it. When like the way I learned the game is just focusing on one thing at a time, and that one thing just happened to be Marth. So I was watching stuff. I mainly just watch stuff and play it. So I was playing. I'm pretty sure I played quite a lot of 10 quid on netplay, and whoever, any Marth, I was just taking them down on netplay and just trying everything out. That's just the way I play friendlies. I'm I sort of behave like an idiot in friendlies and just try those stupid things out, and when they work, I just remember them and then use them later. So that's all I did. I just solidly focused. I knew I had a problem with Marth. I'm not going to be changing character. Peach is my character. Like, the problem is how I play it. I'm like too aggressive, so I've got to change up my style. Got to pull more turnips. Got to be safe pulling the turnips. Got to clean up the edge guards, etc., etc. There was so much to work on that it was just very easy to work on it. Now it's getting harder to work on
Because they're getting
Marth,
better.
but yeah, they're getting better, and I've sort of like reached a point where I can't make these huge strides in the Marth matchup. I'm already like fairly decent at it. I just got to be working on sort of game plans and neutral basically, and those are sort of like my hardest aspects of the game are sort of definitely neutral game anyway.
Yeah.
I can like completely relate with your way of like learning the game. I think that's super similar to mine. I always find that it's just like, oh, there's something that I'm struggling with. That's the focus of everything to do with melee. I'm thinking about that. And everything I'm doing in neutral is just messing around with that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of it's something I picked up from StarCraft. So I would always have like a weakest matchup, like against I was a Protoss, so I would always be pretty good at PvP, like Protoss v Protoss, but against like a Zerg or a Terran, that I just went through sort of stages like, oh, I'm just going to work on Terran now because I'm losing to Terrans, and then once I got really good at Terran, I was like, right, Zergs now, and I boosted Zerg above Terran. It was just sort of like a ladder effect, sort of like, and that's what's been happening now with melee. I just sort of concentrate on one thing and then sort of ladder everything up, and just always concentrate on your worst thing. Try and like raise the bottom bar.
Yeah, I literally have. It's actually kind of weird that we all have the same sort of outlook, but I've definitely been doing that since I got back to London. I would literally look at like the Long Live London power ranking, or there's this huge spreadsheet in the like group in London, about like who's where, and I look and I go down the list and I say, who is my weakest character matchup? And I look at that and I say, right, you're my goal for the week. And then I'll take that character, look at all the VODs, look at all the, I don't know, ideas, threads and stuff like that, try out some things. And it just, I don't know, the difference it makes in terms of just having confidence in yourself that you have done some work, you understand what the character's about. I don't know, it's helped me a lot, like, because Nebula, or Captain Nebula, for those who don't know, like, was kind of a trouble matchup for me. Like, I always thought about him and I was like, shit, okay, if I play him in bracket, chances are I'm going to have a rough time. So, yeah, and it worked out. I did the whole week's sort of research and overcame it. So, I don't know, I think having a process to it is really good, just for, like, your brain, because you understand, like, right, I'm bad at this matchup now, a week, I'll get better, a week, I'll get better, and if it's still my worst matchup, I'll still work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just fill in your knowledge holes.
Yeah, working on it is different for like loads of different people as well. Like I know I'm a visual learner, so I know if I watch a match and I see something I like or see something that's good, I'll just watch it a few times and I'll remember it. So it all depends on like what you got to find out what kind of learner you are. Like some people prefer to read and ingest it that way, or like listening to stuff,
exactly,
etc., etc. You got to learn how you are best at learning.
Yeah, I think there's a huge value to that, especially because I remember Bat was telling me about that when I first started out. Because I think it's all good to like talk matchups and read stuff, but yeah, you have to figure out what's best for you, like as early as possible, really.
Yeah, like reading guides and stuff. Like people read like swathes of things, and if reading isn't their best way of learning, then they're sort of wasting their time. I know, like I'd much rather be like watching and analysing, so it goes in that visual way rather than me reading like swathes of information on frame data and percentages and stuff. It just won't go in, and I won't enjoy it either, which is another massive aspect.
Oh man, watching VODs is actually like, it's such an enjoyable way of learning the game, I feel like. Because, I don't know, I think that's something that's, I'm not sure if it is special to Melee, but I always feel like it is compared to the other things, like games that I've been into. I think there's this huge watching culture around Melee that's like quite interesting. Like everyone watches the tournaments, everyone watches games, everyone watches friendlies, stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, fun times.
It's interesting. I don't know how much of it is, because you know how like a lot of sports have that like group culture, where it's just like you feel like you're a part of a team when you're supporting, so you watch to support as opposed to, and then you like the game because you like supporting. Where I feel like Melee might be the other way around, where it's like people like watching the game, so they got wrapped up in a supporting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was wondering if you guys have ever had, because I've had the opposite of, like, I felt the opposite where I felt someone was vastly unprepared for me, like a good player.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And I was wondering if you guys have ever had that.
I have. I definitely played Doc for 2 years, so it's safe to say. No, I've never encountered it. Everyone knows the Doc matchup, back of their hand. Yeah, no, I think that was part of why I switched. I realised that, like, having that was so powerful. Like, it's so unbelievably powerful to kind of know as a preemptive going in, they're not really going to know what I want to do.
That, yeah, I can 100% say that when I go into every single matchup, I know more about the matchup than they do, like 90% of the time. But as I've been getting better, it's become less and less true. But starting out, it's definitely the case.
People are now focusing on Ice Climbers because everyone's kind of come to this realization they're the lowest common character-ish that people don't really know the matchup for.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, Yevo, Ship, Bombo, there's like all these climbers in the UK now. Hinty, he's alright.
I had to slip in arguably. I couldn't leave it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's super interesting because like, yeah, I don't know. Because my first good PR win was over Fade back in, I think it was like April, July last year. So like a long time ago. Like I was still, it was toward the end of my doc time. But I could just feel like he had no idea what to do. Like literally no idea whatsoever. You could just like roll behind, down smash, and that just works. That should never work. And like having that as this, it's this weird power when you're in the middle of the set and you're like, I'm doing this. And I know it shouldn't work, but yet it is.
He has
like,
no idea what to do against this. Get in. This can be a swift Rio.
So that was actually a key reason for you switching, is you didn't like having that power.
it wasn't that I didn't like it, because I think even with Marth, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you very much. But
Alright.
it's not that I wasn't enjoyed it, because I think even with Marth in the UK, like given the whole infrastructure of things, there's
Yeah.
only like 4 notable Marths.
There's more
maybe?
climbers than moths.
Yeah, there's more climbers than Marths, especially in England. Like in Scotland, they've got a few
Thankfully.
more. But like, I don't know, Marth's still not even that relevant, so it's not a huge problem. So that wasn't why I switched off, but it was maybe a reason.
Yeah, I thought you said that earlier. So
No, I just
Yeah.
switched off because Peach and Falco are absolute cucks. So just the worst.
Yeah, they are.
not for
our
Marth,
guests,
only
Jack.
for Doc. Only for Doc. Don't worry, you're fine now.
Oh,
Man.
dear.
So the kind of last thing I really wanted to ask on the on the topic of preparation, I'm not sure if you guys have stuff after, but was what are your biggest moments of encountering a moment where you weren't prepared, and like what did you learn from it? So I guess start with Hal, since you were so
Yeah,
pissy about not being on before.
That's a good question. Well, now you put me on a spot. I actually can't.
There it is.
The one question I actually have. I'm trying to think. It might have been Lawrence, I guess. Because strangely enough, I always knew the matchup from Marth's perspective, or maybe my theory of people just weren't good versus Marth. But anyway, I thought it was pretty good versus Fox as Marth. So I went into it thinking, right, I know what Marth wants to do, so in theory I should just do the opposite, sort of. But I went into it and I just got destroyed. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why am I so bad at it from this side?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that can especially the way like the punish works is something that can propagate. So I pretty much just don't let you play your game. I'll try and like take an early lead or something, and then you've got to play catch up, and I'm playing my game. I'm playing like I'm gonna hit you and you'll die, and I'm just not running away, but definitely trying to keep that first stock for as long as humanly possible, and that really means that you can't really have your own game plan and like play your
unforced
game because
approach essentially, yeah,
I'm
which is
making you play
real
mine.
bad, real bad.
Especially the difference in like mentality of gameplay between like Fox and Marth against Peach must be like ridiculous, because Marth is just be incredibly patient and a very strict spacing, but Fox is like the exact opposite. It's like hot cold. So I could see why that would be quite rattling. So yeah, what about, I don't know, Ross or Lawrence, whoever has the kind of, did you have a moment? I think I know your one, Ross, but I'm excited to hear your telling of it anyway.
Interesting. What? I'm curious to know what you think mine is.
Oh,
I was thinking
expectation you've
both the B sets. I think they would be like moments you won't.
Sets? Oh, beast.
The beast.
Sets.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
yeah.
You might have something else. That's
I think okay. So if I say, I was thinking less to do with matchups and more about like state of mind. Like more recently playing Octopus, I played him at my locals, and and it was interesting because usually when we play very casually all the time, and I do not think about my mentality when I'm playing with friendlies with him. I get frustrated and I get mad and whatever. I'm not thinking at all about how I'm playing. So playing him in tournament on stream or at least on video where you could actively see me get frustrated, that was like a huge shock for me, because I just realized that while it's really important to me to sort of hold this level of like good sportsmanship, good mentality, I completely forgot about that when I was playing him, and I don't usually do that. So that was sort of a big thing for me when I was like, oh, I need to be playing at this level of like, I need to be, I guess I don't want to say playing professionally, but I need to be bringing that like level, even when it's against like my friends.
But I like the idea though. I think there is something to be said about like the sort of professional, very very serious mindset, and the whole playing friendlies with your friend that you've known for blah 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 years.
Yeah, I guess it's like what do you want at the end of the day? Like what's more important to you? Like, do you want that? Because for me, it was like I've sort of now being more known on a larger scale outside of just two friends playing Smash. I sort of have a reputation to uphold, so I shouldn't be going and just being like just getting frustrated and complaining about how dumb Falcon is. I should be doing that.
Yeah.
It's
pretty dumb. Like he's
pretty
pretty
silly.
dumb. Like his knee is just like twice the size of his knee, and it's just invisible because that's fun. Anyway, moving on.
But you've dealt, well, as we can see, you've dealt with the salt
I've
fully.
dealt with it well.
nice.
I've just relocated when I talk about it.
So Lawrence, do you have any sort of like big, huge story about like not being prepared and maybe advice for how to deal with people that run into it, or are you always prepared?
I guess like well, I wish I always was, but definitely Omid with his silly little yellow rat running around. I was not so like the way I enjoy playing is quite aggressive, and that does not work against Pikachu. You've got to be you've got to just space away, get away from this stupid little. Anyway,
You've dealt with the salt.
I've dealt with my salt. It's fine. Yeah. So because if it wasn't for him and the mask, I would have had no non-PR losses since January, and it's just so I was woefully unprepared for this Pikachu.
Yeah.
And it just that was just horrible to not be able to know how to deal with it, and I didn't really get over it. I didn't get a chance to play on a new wave. I haven't closed the loop on that Pikachu thing.
The chapter's still going.
So it's definitely an open wound.
Oh no! You just have to wait a year.
Just a year. Just this year.
Yeah.
And then I was about to say, stay tuned, all listeners.
Yeah, we'll get Laurster back when Okami's back, and we have Laurster him.
We can close the chapter.
Yeah, I gotta have a salty match or whatever. I just need to finish.
Just
it
watch the games that Rebs wins against Omid religiously for the next 365 days.
Yeah,
And then you're good.
I just won't be. There
it is.
There's back airs. That's all I need.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah, unless anybody has any sort of like closing thoughts or like things to kind of tell people, like do this when you prepare, it's important, then I'm kind of
Last minute preparation.
yeah.
Goes against everything we've been saying about preparation.
I was about to say
The irony.
that is actually amazing. So yeah, I guess don't be last minute is my advice.
That's it. Yeah, that's a good one.
It is. Unlike the scrambling for last minute tips, do not.
Yes, don't do what we just did.
Just fill in
be
knowledge holes wherever you can, and just don't worry about it on the day. Just be aware of the knowledge you have. Play around that.
Yeah, that's a good
and
one.
if you can freestyle an answer to something, like if you've got that intuition is the word.
Yeah.
Intuition. If you've got that kind of intuition and know the game well enough to like freestyle an answer of, he keeps doing X, therefore I have to do Y. And then if you want to try it out, go ahead. And then you'll learn as well that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's
Or
kind of
does
what Melo's
work.
about. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Being able
definitely
to have
like the
those.
point about the idea of there being like two modes. So there is I am preparing mode, I'm going through, I'm learning matchups, I'm doing all this, but then as soon as you get to the tournament, it's like now I am just focusing on the tournament.
Yeah, I'm playing strictly to
Yeah.
win with the information I have. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
Yeah. I've got all the information. If I'm not good enough with this information, then I guess I deserve to lose. But I'm going to keep my mentality up. I'm going to focus on,
like if you want it in a phrase, be all business.
exactly.
Yeah, definitely work on the mental game. Definitely work. Like try and be strong mentally. Maybe not worry so much about tech skill, but definitely worry about staying strong
and like
mentally
sticking
the
to a
whole
game
day.
plan, right? Like
Yeah.
just have confidence in what you do know and don't like.
Yeah, that's the thing that I said earlier about grounding myself, which I've told a few players around my region. I just think, well, if for some reason I'm just playing like a twat or just doing stuff or just getting hit by all sorts of nonsense, well, not even nonsense, just things I know that quote unquote shouldn't be working against me. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, let me just do the matchup. Right, so what do I need to do at 0%, mid%, high percent, and I just make a game plan off that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Cool.
it's that.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for coming out, Lawster. Thank you for joining us.
For coming out, yeah, thanks for
Sorry.
stepping out of your bedroom.
Into the Air 2 venue, yeah. So,
All good.
But yeah,
GG's.
to wrap things up.
No, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's
GG's,
good.
guys.
GG's.
yeah, GG.